Hi, how's it going?
Hello. How are you?
I'm good. Can you
I
hear
have,
me okay?
yeah. Can you hear me? I have various headphone options. I don't know if
No,
this.
you sound great. Yeah, you're coming through
Okay,
very clear.
great. I won't bother with those because one of them makes me look a bit like Britney Spears.
Yeah,
Like,
look at this. Like
yeah, that looks professional. This is just yeah. But, no, all good. I haven't really spoken today, so this is going to be a bit
this is the first time you've spoken all
like
day.
apart from calling my mum.
What have you been doing?
So I've actually not been at home. I've been staying at my friends because I've been cat sitting for them. So
Yeah.
just had some like kitten cuddles and went for like a long run. And somehow it's 3 o'clock and like it's so nice and sunny. I'm like, oh my god, I should have gone outside. But
What kind of cat is it? And is it just the one cat or have you got more? Just one.
just
What
one. It's like a little, I don't know, cat types, like a ginger thing, but it's very sweet.
is it like
Um,
a tiger stripe style thing?
no, it's like just like a proper orange cat.
Like
And
Garfield.
yeah, basically with like a big white chin.
Um, yeah, so we're recording now, like straight away, so we
Yeah,
can we
that's
can
fine.
edit out anything, it's no biggie.
My cat
So
story.
yeah, I mean, the amount of people who love cats will rival the amount of people who love Callum as well. So
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, I feel like
so
they're on a similar level of love.
yeah. So what I did just before you joined, I read through your blog post, um, and that was really nice, and it was inspiring as well. But I wanted to start off like at the beginning of where did you meet Callum?
Yeah. So that takes us back to 2010. So I was 17, he was 18. And we were from different parts of the country. So I'm from London and he's was from Peterborough in Cambridgeshire. So didn't cross paths in any sense until we were on a school trip to Malaysia, of all places, which was like a month-long kind of volunteering trip, which we into Borneo, and we were in different groups, but there were parts where our two groups like kind of crossed paths, and on the kind of final place we were, um, his group had about 2 days left before they came back to the UK, and we had a few weeks. And I remember the last day we were like, oh, we probably should like hang out with the other group, like they look cool. So we played this like big kind of group game where you stand in a circle, and it's called Ninjas. I don't know if you know it.
No.
It's like I don't know if anyone knows that. We might have made it up, but
Was this
you,
when you were you doing your A levels or yeah, okay, so you
yes,
still you were at sixth form
yeah,
at this point.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So I just finished the first year of my A levels, and he was a year older, so he was just about to finish and
He
go
was a,
to uni,
he's a
although he
cradle
did.
snatcher.
Yeah, basically. I was still a child. No, it wasn't like that. Um, we yeah, so we were playing this game and like all standing in a circle, and I've never noticed him or spoken to him up until this point, a month-long trip. But we're playing this game, and the premise is you kind of stand there, like kind of like this, and with your leg up, and you have to, when it's your turn, you can take one swipe to try and hit the person next to you, either like below the elbow or below the knee. And anyway, Callum was the person next to me, and just like instantly, as soon as we kind of locked eyes, because I was like, oh my god, here's my enemy, he's going to try and get me out. But we locked eyes, and it was like, this is so lame to tell the story, but I'm not going to say love at first sight because that makes me want to die inside. But it was
No,
like,
I'm a big believer in that. So no, go
okay,
on,
cool.
keep going.
But it was like we knew that we were kind of on the same team. He was like, I won't try and get you if you don't try and get me. Let's see how long. That's kind of what it happened, and then we were kind of just like, yeah, playing this game, and then we kind of got down to the end, and then I think I probably got out, I can't remember, but yeah, and then it just kind of started from there, like obviously just friends at first, and then I remember the next day, there was a plan to like climb the local hill at sunrise. It sounds
Was
very.
was that just the two of you, or was that a group
Oh no,
activity?
no. Bear in mind, he was 18. He was not that smooth at this point in his life.
Okay.
Like, yeah, hey babe, let's climb the hill at sunrise. No, it was just like a group activity. And I remember I was like, oh, I don't know, like it's going to be like a 5 a.m. wake up. Like it's been a long week because we were doing kind of physical work while we were there, so it was quite hard. But I remember like he was like, no, you're going to come. It'll be cool to hang out. Let's do it. And I remember at 5 the next day, he was outside my tent, like flashing his torch, like Sarah, wake up. And yeah, so we just like had a nice chat going up the hill, and we didn't actually see the sunrise. I think the group of us took too long to get there, and it was not pleasant. This sounds very romantic. Like it was humid,
Yeah.
sweaty teenagers trying to climb a hill. But anyway, so we just kind of.
And you just slept in a tent, so you're stinking, and there's insects around and all sorts of things.
Yeah. Proper gross. Like literally, we were gross. But yeah, so we just got talking, and I think it was later that day his group had to go home. So it wasn't like romantic. It was more just like, oh, you're cool, like add me on Facebook or whatever it was back in the day.
Stay in touch.
Yeah, stay in touch. And I actually think he had a girlfriend at the time, so it definitely wasn't anything like that. But yeah, so we did stay in touch, which I'm very, very glad we did. It's one of those ones where you're like, oh yeah, stay in touch, but you never actually expect maybe.
You never know, like who you meet in life, how long that person's going to be with you, like what kind of impact they will have on your life. And you know, for most people that you meet, it can just be oh hi, hello, like see you later. And for other people, they have like massive impacts on your life. And Callum's definitely one of those people, isn't he?
Yeah, and I feel like it's the same for you with your little interaction with him.
Yeah, I mean
in Blackpool.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think of the exact year when I met him, but I think my memory's getting fuzzy, but I think it was 2014. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, that was right, because that's the year we finished uni. So he would have finished uni, then this job he had in Blackpool was kind of a summer after uni internship thing. So
yeah,
that sounds right.
Yeah, so in 2014 I was living in this house share in Blackpool. What was I doing at the time? I think in 2014 I'd started teaching, or I was about to start teaching. I think I was just finishing up one job and about to start teaching, or I was already just teaching like for about 6 months or something at that point. And Callum moved into the house, and it was pretty much just an instant click.
Love at first sight.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was love at first sight. I was like, who is this man? Who's this handsome young man? And where have all the potatoes gone?
Oh Lord.
Yeah. So yeah, we just kind of we had a communal area in the house. You know, there was sort of 5 or 6 people living there at any one time. But Callum would always be there for like countdown, or you know, something like that. He'd be watching TV around about that kind of time.
Yeah.
You know, as people are passing, and he was so good at conversation that he always pulled me in, and he always and he always had something interesting to say as well. So that was the hook. Like I was, you know, he had a good opinion on different things, and you know, he suggested different programs to me that I hadn't seen before, like The League, or you know, he had a favorite comedian, which was Bo Burnham, who I'm still not a massive fan of, but The League definitely then led me on to other shows of that kind, and you know, I carry that stuff with me. So yeah, it was a bit of a, you know, a short-lived bromance, because I think, did he get a different job or something happened and he had to leave early? So
yeah, I think he had to go back to Leeds to work like a proper long-term job. Yeah.
Yeah, that was it. So yeah, Callum got like a proper job, and he left me, and I was heartbroken. Then I was like, "No, dude, don't go." And he was like, "I've got to go," and I was like, "Ah, we'll stay in touch," and we did. And I think I saw him again after he moved out in 2015. I went over to Leeds. Yeah, I went over to Leeds
Yeah.
with a girl I was going out with at that time. And just on the off chance, I was like, Callum lives in Leeds. So I sent him a message, and
There he was.
like he would, he was just like, yeah, sure, I'll be there. I'll meet you, in this. It was like an old ale house across the road from, is it a museum, or like a town hall in Leeds? There's like the main,
Yeah, I know.
the main road, and there's the beautiful, I think it's like an art gallery, and then
Yeah.
opposite the art gallery, there's like an ale house where they do like real, cask
Wow.
ale and cask ciders. And Callum was like, let's go here. This is the place.
It surprises me that he even knew of that, because he was really rubbish at knowing anything. Like, I swear I knew Leeds better than him, even though he lived there for like 4 or 5 years. But no, that sounds really cool. I want to go there.
Yeah. So we went there, and we had, a few pints, as you do, and there was loads of board games, and I think it was the board games that were there that that he was into. And he said, I think, I can't remember what we played, but we played a few different rounds of something or other, probably drafts or something.
Yeah.
And then that was the last time I saw him back then. So that was, my chapter, or my duration with Callum is very short, but very impactful. And I think I was in shock, like when I found out that he passed away.
Yeah.
And that's why I made that drive all the way down to Peterborough. I didn't realize how far it was.
Oh God, yeah.
and I drove all the way down, and then I felt really out of place, because you were the only person that I knew,
That you even knew of. Yeah.
and then but obviously you're super preoccupied with everything else that's going on. And then I thought, this is like a family thing. There was so many people there.
Yeah.
And then I just said, I'll see you later, and I scurried away, and I went back, and it was hard for me. So I can't, I only knew Callum for a few months, so I can't imagine what it was like for his friends and family.
Yeah, it means a lot that you came, actually. Like, I think, although you only knew him a few months, you were definitely one of the people, not that he spoke badly of anyone, like it was Callum, but like, you're definitely one of the people that he would reference. And I knew of Paul from Blackpool, and he thought you were a cool guy. So I think, yeah, it's really meaningful. And yeah, I could go on about how big of a shock it was, but yeah, it was a horrific time. Like, I think you're saying we did meet at the funeral, but I honestly can't remember it. Like, it's the whole day is just like complete, like
a blur,
hazy blur. Yeah.
No, I don't think that you and I spoke, but I think I gave you a nod or something, and I think you recognized I was there or whatever. But that, that's we'll talk about. Okay, so you met in Malaysia.
Yeah. As you do.
Yeah. So that's a pretty good start, isn't it, to
cool,
to any romance, any love story. You met each other in a foreign land,
I know.
and then so tell me a bit about like Callum's background. He looks foreign himself, so what's where's Callum's origins?
So Callum, born and bred in Peterborough in Cambridge, but his dad is Pakistani, and his mum is white British. So yeah, him and his little sister Maria, they're both from the same mum and dad. So, and he has an older brother, Ben. He's from a different dad. So yeah, him and Maria have like the mixed race look, but in a very kind of he was close more to his mum's side of the family, so it's a very kind of
he looks kind of he looks kind of Spanish or Italian or something. Yeah,
he had that before. Like I remember he told me, like at school, people were like, "Callum, are you Spanish?" Like expecting he can speak like all these languages, and he's like, "No."
And when you speak to him, he was so posh as well.
He wasn't posh.
Yeah, he was pretty
He
posh.
thought, well, he thought I was posh.
He was posh for Blackpool anyway. You know?
It makes me laugh that he ended up in Blackpool. Like
it's pretty weird, isn't it? Why did he end up there? How did he get there?
It was the internship with it was like the government civil service internship, and they were like, right, you'll be placed anywhere in the UK, you'll find out. We were like, come on, London. Then I remember he called me up, he's like, Sarah, I got the internship. I was like, brilliant, because it was like really competitive and I knew he really wanted it. I was like, so where are you going to be? He's like, oh yeah, Blackpool. So yeah, that was that. And I remember I looked up the travel from like London to Blackpool. I was like, oh God, like this is going to be a hard few months. Kind of not. It's going to be hard to see each other. But I think I came up twice, but I don't think I met you.
I was probably working away. Around about that time, I was working in the airports doing electrical installation and stuff. Maybe you don't know this, but Blackpool's actually the birthplace of the civil service.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, what a weird piece! What a weird piece of knowledge. I actually, I briefly worked for the civil service in 2006, and that was something that they were quite proud of telling us when we worked there. So yeah, I had a look through the photos that you shared with me as well. So what I'll do when I put this together, you know, at some points, if we get into like long conversations, I'll overlay images of Callum. So like when you spoke of him when he's younger, I know that there's a picture of him as the little cute baby with his brother. So like I'll put those up over the that
sounds nice. Yeah. And if you need any more, even like if you need any from like when we were in Borneo or something, I can dig out some awkward teenage pics to send through. In Malaysia, that's where we met.
So so after Malaysia, you said that you know, Callum already had a girlfriend. So what happened to her, bless her?
So they broke up a few months after we were back, as far as I can remember. But at that point, Callum and we exchanged kind of the odd like Facebook a DM kind of thing, but it was only kind of till a few months later we just started to get really, really close, just all over Messenger. So it was very bizarre. Like you feel so attached to somebody, and it kind of just grew. And again, it was still like not romantic in any sense, but I just remember the day he was like, what was it? It was like, oh, by the way, like, do you have a boyfriend? And I was like, I remember I said it, and I was like, oh no, I'm a single Pringle. And I was like, oh God, why did I say that? But anyway, he seemed to like the answer, and he was like, oh, let me have your number. But I still didn't kind of put two and two together in terms of, okay, I think he likes me. But yeah, just as the months went on, we got really close, and I think he told me how he felt, but I was like, no, I can't be dealing with that. Like, because I went to an all-girls school, and until this point I didn't really know any guys, so I just didn't really know. Like, sounds really naive, but like
I can relate to that. I went to an all-boys school, so yeah, well, I can kind of, you don't know how to talk to people of the opposite sex, you know, when you're starting out. It took me years to adjust to. So I get that. I understand that. I'm sure there's loads of people who understand that feeling of, you know, when you're segregated. And I guess the opposite sex is even more mysterious and more intriguing when you do that, rather than having kids mixed together.
Exactly. I think it makes it more of a like unknown and more exciting maybe, but clearly I was just a bit clueless. It's just like, oh, this guy's nice. And all my friends were like, oh, you always talk about Callum, like who is this guy? Are you guys going to get together? I was like, no, what are you talking about? But yeah, so we just gradually grew and grew as like really close, and it then we do occasional video calls, and I remember we met up a few times, and talked a little bit about how he felt, but I always just kind of said like, no, I don't feel the same. I kind of kept it very close to my chest. I don't know why. In hindsight, I was like, what was I waiting for? Like, whatever. But yeah, I got to a point where we then both started uni. So this was about a year after we had first met. We both started uni at the same time because he had to resit a year of school because he didn't quite get the grades, but it worked out in our favour. So we both started uni, and I remember I went in Leeds and I went up to see him just as he'd started. I hadn't started yet. And we went out and got incredibly drunk. And I remember the whole night I was like, I'm not going to kiss you. And he was like, okay. And he was such a gentleman. Like, he just like kept like that. It's like, no, that's what it is. Like, we just got very drunk. And then the next day I woke up not really remembering what happened, like lying in his bed. But he, bless him, had like propped himself up on the floor against the wall with his little sleeping bag on. And I opened my eyes. I was like, Callum, what are you doing? He was like, I wanted you to have the bed because we're just friends. And I was like, oh God. I was like, Callum, get into the bed, like the other end, and let's just sleep off this hangover and deal with it another time. But then, yeah, a few weeks later, I started uni, got really drunk and fresh as week, and I called him up and I was like, I love you. And then I was still like, oh, when I was sober, I was like, oh, I really care about you, but I don't want to do this over, like, where we used Skype back in the day.
Yeah.
Like, I want to come and see you and just talk about it.
What was his response when you were drunk and you were phoning him, and what did he say?
I think he was like, oh, like, I think he was quite it was probably quite annoying because I was, when someone's really drunk and just like go talking and talking. And I actually can't really remember the conversation, Paul, to be honest with you, because I was so drunk. But I think he was quite confused, but he was always so positive and like excited about stuff. So he just kind of let it play out and kept his cool, I think. But yeah, eventually I got to Leeds, and then we decided that we should be together.
So then, so you said that you went to Leeds. Did you go to Leeds University?
No, so I was in Oxford for uni, so that was like another thing. So it was about a 5-hour. We always got the megabus, so 5-hour megabus every time, and like, I think I should be like a megabus like poster girl or something, because I've been on that bus for so many hours. But we saw each other every kind of probably like 3 to 6 weeks. Like, one of us would come down or go up, and then over the summer usually spend a bit more time, but still not much. So that we were so good at talking because we'd done this kind of year getting to know each other on Messenger, on the phone, like on Skype. It kind of worked really well, and like long distance is really, really hard. But I think, Callum, he was just very communicative and always was able to comfort me from a distance if things got hard, or it just worked, and it just always felt really natural every time we got back together. Like, we were just completely like best friends, basically.
And like throughout that time when you were apart, was he ever worried or concerned, like, when you're down in Oxford and he's up there, was he ever jealous, or was
I think so. I think there were a few occasions where like I'd mention other people, and as I said, like, I'd never been around guys before, so he'd never heard really talking about guys, and he's like, oh God, who are all these like guys Sarah's friends with? And like, my best friend I made at uni is a guy, and I think there was probably, actually, no, James doesn't know this, but there was a time where Callum was like worried about that, and then turns out James likes guys, so there was honestly never anything around that. But I think it was just adjusting to hearing about kind of our new expanding lives from each other, and likewise with me and him, because he is incredibly popular with the ladies, and like often his friends are girls, so I kind of just had to get used to that, and I completely trusted him, so it was never hopefully never anything kind of serious concerns. And we, as I say, we always just managed to talk things through, and I think that was the key that got us through those horrible years at uni where we couldn't see each other.
Yeah, I think, you know, throughout that time, you had nothing to worry about because he was a gentleman through and through, wasn't he?
100%.
Yeah.
He was that person that will hold the door. I remember he wouldn't let me walk, like we're walking on the pavement together, he had to walk closest to the road because that was like the riskiest spot, and like he would always swap and jump and put himself there, and just, yeah, please, thank you, like, yeah, like the biggest gentleman there ever will be in like my generation. I feel like so sweet.
So is that what his whole family are like, or was he like unique to his family?
No, I think, yeah, him and his siblings have been taught very well in terms of like manners and stuff. But I think just like a guy of his age, especially back then, like when he was like 18, 19, like that's not how guys act.
Yeah.
But it was just, and I remember for a while I was like, is he into girls? Like before I knew about his girlfriend, I was like, is he just like really just lovely and like not like trying to be like macho or anything, just, yeah. But I think that all of his family are very, very like kind, respectful, and yeah, it's just how he's brought up, I guess. But yeah, maybe he was a little bit of a funny fish, but in a nice way.
So after uni, did he move down to London to be with you? You were already down in London, were you?
Yeah, so I moved back with my mum and dad after uni, and once he had the stint in Blackpool after uni, and then he moved to Leeds for a bit. And I think it must have been end of 2015 he came to live in London with me, my mum and dad. So that was a different experience, as we've been a long distance for, I guess at that point, 3 years.
And then he moved in with your folks.
Then it was the whole opposite, really, which actually was lovely. My parents really loved Callum, so it worked really nicely. And I'm sure, bless him, it must have been really weird for him trying to like figure out his like, I don't know, relationship with me whilst like getting to know my parents. But yeah, it worked out. And then we got our own place about maybe 6 months later. We got our own little flat, which was like, yeah, that was like the best year of both of our lives, I think, having that flat together.
So he stayed with you and your parents for about 6 months, and were they keen to kick you both out?
They never said so much, but yeah, like the plan had always been, we're here to save up so we can get our deposit and move. So yeah, it was definitely a good day on all accounts when we got our keys to the new place, and like mum and dad helped us move in and stuff, which was lovely. But yeah, it definitely felt like a big moment for everyone, I think, to get that place. And I remember a really nice memory I have is like when we were at mum and dad's there, I can't remember what series it would have been, but Game of Thrones was on, and like we were obsessed, and we would get so excited about it. My mum loved it too, and we would like sit down in the living room and sing along to the theme tune like as it came on, like absolute dweebs. But I remember we said to each other, we were like, oh my god, one day we're going to be able to do this in our own flat. And then I remember the day we got to the flat, the next Game of Thrones was on. We didn't have a sofa yet, we didn't have anything, but we made like little pile of cushions on the floor and sat down, and like the Game of Thrones theme tune came on, and it was just like, that is one of my favorite memories. So we were just like belting out like da, 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 da. And it was like, Callum, we made it, we got our own place, and we can sing the theme tune as loud as we want. So yeah, it was just the best. It was just the best, the funnest year living there with him.
And do you still live there now, or you moved out?
No, so I lived there, I think over a year after Callum died. But then it just it was not affordable to live on my own. And also, I'm not sure if it was the best place for me to be in terms of like mental health and, you know, living alone. So about after a year and a bit later, I moved in with some friends. So I've been living with friends ever since, really.
Yeah.
Which I'm quite proud of, because I think when everything kind of fell apart when he died, I thought, I don't know, like I felt like obviously I just lost everything about my life and my future. And I was like, it would have been so easy to go back and live with mum and dad, which is lovely, but it just, that would have just felt like I've just gone back to being a child again. Like since 17, I had Callum. And then when I was 23, I lost him. And then, but I think the fact I managed to stay kind of independent and do that has been a big kind of factor in keeping myself going through a pretty crappy few years.
And so you still live with the same friends now? Do you want to give them a shout out and just
Yeah, so I first moved in with Michael and James. Now we live in a bigger house, but yeah, Michael and James were the ones that they kind of reached out when they were looking for a place. They knew I might be, and yeah, I think it really kind of got me back on my feet to have that place and have kind of friends around. And not that, like, they knew Callum a little bit, but not very much, so it's not like it was a support in that respect. It was more just, yeah, being able to have fun a bit and like, yeah, watch TV together and stuff.
I think it's definitely better than living by yourself. And
Sure.
yeah, like psychologically, like moving back in with the parents is, you could have potentially viewed that as like a step backwards as well, or a regression. So there's so many benefits of being with being in a house share, because you have that like unpredictability of people coming around and different scenarios happening, that can distract you from however you're feeling at that point. Whereas like if you're living by yourself, you can get swallowed up in your own thoughts and feelings, and that's it's not a great place to be.
No, exactly. Yeah, I think it was important for me to, I mean, handing in the finishing my run at that place me and Callum lived was probably like the second hardest thing I've ever done. Like that was such a kind of dream for us to be there, and he loved that place so much. Like he would always turn around and just be like, out of nowhere, Sarah, I love our flat. And like it just held completely pure happy memories for me. So yeah, handing that in and saying I need to move out was so hard. But as you say, like it wouldn't have been a long-term solution. I definitely could have easily withdrawn into myself a bit if I hadn't already. It's kind of hard to remember, but yeah, I think having friends nearby has been the absolute savior of the last few years.
So when you lived together, did you go traveling again, like together anywhere? Or
nothing as exotic, unfortunately. Like it was definitely, we always, I mean, this literally is so cringe, I don't really know if I should say it out loud, but one thing we always we used to say to each other is, in Malaysia, at night the stars were freaking beautiful. Like you could see, like it just looked like you could see the Milky Way. I don't know if you actually could, but it was so like actually like a photograph, like just beautiful. And although we never actually were there together looking at the stars, he was there somewhere and I was here. But anyway, so we always used to say, oh God, he was like, we will have the stars. It's just so cringe. But we always used to want to go back basically and see the stars together in Borneo, but we never got to do that. We would have done, but no, the furthest we've traveled we've been kind of a few places. We went to Vienna in Austria together, just kind of mini breaks like that. And for his 25th birthday, I took him to Bristol, very glamorous. It was really fun. And a few times to France, but nothing big. Like we had it in mind that we wanted to do something big. Like at one point we were going to quit our jobs and move to Australia, but we never quite got around to that. But it was very much like yeah, the heartbreak comes even more. It was very much like, it was just, that was the beginning. Like we were just getting started, like we just got our place, and
Yeah.
there were all these like exciting things we kind of had in mind. But then it was never like, I think the way Callum lived his life, like he just found joy in every day. And like, it sounds really, again, cliche, but he was that person. Like he just always was laughing at something, or seen a video on YouTube that he wanted to show me, even though it was like the most nerdy, boring thing ever. And it just, he always had something like he was excited about. And for him, it wasn't about like, I'm aiming for X, Y, Z in the future, although it was more like, oh, what are we having for dinner? Like we always used to cook together, and it was just those little bits. I mean, I can't speak for him, but that's the way I saw it.
Yeah. So like he was very much enjoying the moment, like all the time.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think that's a very rare thing,
Yeah.
especially compared to someone like me, where I have like really bad anxiety, or like, always overthinking everything. For him, it was just such a beautiful quality. Like he was always just in the moment, present, and usually like 99% of the time positive, and just, yeah, happy, which was really lovely to be around. And I try my very best to like emulate that as much as I can, but it's not always easy.
And you mentioned that you used to cook together. So you know where I'm going with this now.
Yeah, I do. So Callum was culinary, his prowess in the culinary department was at first quite limited. So he was a very proud vegan, and not the kind of vegan that is a dickhead and annoying. No offense, vegans, but just very much like, this is
Yeah,
what I want to do.
he
Like,
didn't
yeah,
mind if if your shoes were made out of leather.
no,
He was cool with it.
he just
But
did his thing.
yeah, I never saw that. I've never seen anyone eat that amount of mashed potato. So like when you were living together, who did the cooking?
Okay, so we need to go on a journey here. So,
Yeah.
and first of all, when we're talking about mine and Callum's relationship, we should first talk about Callum's relationship with potatoes, because that is, I think, his first true love, and probably his one true love, to be honest. But yeah, he just loved potatoes. Like, he's a vegan, and like often, especially back in the day, because back in the day, let's remember, being vegan was not why, like, not everyone was vegan. Like, you can't go to a restaurant and find vegan stuff. Now you can.
Mm.
But when we'd go out, all he would eat was like, oh, okay, there's nothing I can eat. I'll just get a bowl of chips. And he wasn't sad about that. That was like a result for him. Even if I'd look at the menu, like, Callum, I'm pretty sure you could eat like X, Y, Z. He'd be like, oh no, it's fine. I'll just get chips. And like, that was great for him. But I think I said to you on message, I think the first meal he ever made for me was potato waffles, beans, maybe vegan sausages or something. I mean, absolutely delicious. But that's the kind of level we're talking about with his culinary expertise. But yeah, I think maybe my influence probably. But like by the time we lived together, like we freaking loved cooking. We would just on a Sunday plan out kind of our meals for the week, go run along to Tesco, get our bits, and every night he would do the chopping, I would do the cooking, and we'd make some kind of vegan masterpiece. Often involving potato, but not always. So that was like, that's probably one of my absolute biggest things I miss, is just having my little cooking buddy. And I guess because we both made it, even if it didn't taste very nice, it's kind of like you put your love into something, and we'd both be like,
Yeah.
lovely. But yeah, no, but every time he could, and whenever I wasn't there was chips involved, there was potato involved. Like, it's just, yeah, it's true love, as I say.
Yeah, and he was the same at Park Road as well. He just pile like this, like massive piles of godly amounts of
Oh
potato.
God.
He was like the guy from Close Encounters of the Third Kind, like making a potato mountain.
Yeah, he'll be like, right, what's the biggest saucepan we've got? How many potatoes can I fit in it? And that's my meal. I was like, Callum, portion control, please.
So you mentioned something that did he give you a gift of a baked potato? Or what was that?
Yeah. So this was our first Valentine's Day. So February 2012. I went to see him like early February, and he gave me this box. It's like a heart-shaped box. And he was like, this is your Valentine's gift, but you can't open it until Valentine's Day. So I kind of took it with me back on the megabus down to Oxford and had it on my desk for the next week. And then it got to Valentine's Day, and I was like, okay, what is in here? Like, that's quite solid in there. Like, what's that? And I opened the box, and yeah, there's a big raw potato in there. I was like, oh, okay. Like, Callum was the first person I'd been with, so this is my first Valentine's gift. So I was like, oh, this is it, is it? Okay. It's not quite like in the movies. But yeah, then I noticed on the lid of the box, he'd written a YouTube URL. There's like, type me in. So I went on my laptop and typed it in, and there was Callum on a little video holding his potato and like talking me through why he got me a potato for Valentine's Day. Which the reasoning was, again, slightly questionable. He definitely articulated it better than I will, but something like, a potato is beautiful, like you. even when it's just like this, it's still beautiful. Like, you don't need any makeup, just like a potato doesn't need anything doing to it. But it's also so like versatile, like our love, and it can be made into like chips. He named all his favorite potato products, and you can do so much from potato, like our love can do so much. You can even make it into like a battery, or like, all these things. And it was actually very adorable, and I still have that video and watch it every now and again, even though he looks so young and cute. But yeah, that was my first Valentine's gift, and I was like, goodness, okay, I can't just throw it away. Like, well, I could make it into mashed potato, but that's a one-off.
Yeah.
That's a one-off thing, and I was like, this is really special and important. So I was like, well, what can I do with it? And I went to the shop and I bought a peace lily, and in the bottom of the peace lily, I cut up and put the potato under the soil, and planted it up and put it in a pot. And yeah, I still have that peace lily. It's still alive. So yeah, that's
so
what I did with it.
So the potato's still there.
Well, I'm presuming it's decomposed somewhere in the soil, but yeah, the potato is in the soil of my peace lily that is now, I say, how long? It's nearly 10 years old now. I would get it, but it's in the other room. But
yeah,
it's got, every time it flowers, it makes me feel like really happy that, one, I can keep a plant alive, because that's quite a feat, and
yep.
and two, it just it feels like that's really special. And it's mad that a freaking plant has lived longer than like me and Callum were together, which makes me sad, but I'm glad I have it, and it can never die, or I'm going to be very upset.
That's yeah. Like, I don't know what I would have done with that potato. It's I think I probably would have eaten it.
I mean, I'm sure that was what he was imagining.
That's what he wanted. Yeah, he was trying to give you a meal, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was like, okay, now invite me around and we'll have some chips. Yeah.
So
yeah,
you were living together, and you're working and he was working, and what were you both doing, and what was like daily life like for you? What was your did you get into a routine, or?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I think both of us are very much like routine people. Like Callum, especially, like before. Well, I say this, he was one of those people that very nocturnal. Like he would go to bed at like 3, 4, 5 a.m. So actually, for a lot of our relationship, it was like we were in different countries because he would be kind of asleep till like midday. And yeah, we'd only have a few hours where we could talk to each other. But by the time we kind of moved into the flat, like we really kind of got a little routine down, like went off to work in the morning, came back, oh, what's for dinner? Did a little cooking. He did the chopping, I did the cooking, and then like, yeah, tended to watch a few episodes of something, whatever we had at the time. And then he'd have a shower, sit in bed, read his book, because he freaking loved reading. And then I'd have my shower, then we'd go to bed, and it was just, yeah, and just literally, like, it's hard to explain, but when someone's gone, it's those tiny little things that really you miss the most, and like the comfort that they bring. And like I remember getting home from work every day, and Callum would be sat, and I don't know if you ever saw him do this, but he always used to kind of perch his laptop really funny on his knees, like squished his legs up on the sofa and like sit on his laptop and be watching something on YouTube. He'd be sat in a corner of the sofa. I come in the door, and he could never be bothered to get up, but he'd like put his lips out like this and be like, that man's like, come and kiss me hello. So that would be like our little thing every time I got home. And it was just so easy and like so lovely. But yeah, he worked during that time. He was in the fundraising team for Diabetes UK, which is a charity, obviously, that meant a huge deal to him. And I was so proud of him getting that job. He applied. He was in that kind of trying to get a kind of proper job in London, and he'd been applying and applying and applying. And this came up very shortly after his little sister got diagnosed with type 1 diabetes when she was, I think, 13. And seeing kind of how it's such a horrible disease, like it's just completely random who it affects, and then you have it for life, and you have to, it completely kind of destroys your childhood. You can't just go out and have fun with your friends. You have to think about how much insulin you have or what you're going to eat. Anyway, so seeing kind of what she went through, and like she was really ill at one point, he just thought, right, I'm passionate about working for this charity, and he put his application in. And yeah, I had a year or so working for them, and it was always really special to him, and something I think we're all super proud of, that he kind of got to have that look. That's just the kind of person he was, like giving a little bit of something back to a cause that meant a lot to him. And yeah, and he was just brilliant, and like I was so proud of him, and I think he would have done really well in the long term staying there and working his way up the ranks. But
and from your blog, I learned something that I didn't know, which was that he loved running, because I don't because I only ever saw him sitting around.
yeah. Yes, so this was a later development.
Okay.
Definitely, for most of the time, that was the image of Callum, like in a loving way, just like sitting down watching TV, chilling, eating potato. That's Callum. But then yeah, just we kind of, I think I started going to the gym when we moved in, and he was like, oh, actually, I want to have a go. Like I want to get fit, and like we kind of just went from strength to strength, no pun intended. But like then he actually didn't love the gym that much, but he did like the treadmill. So meanwhile, I'd go off and kind of pretend I'm doing something. He'd like get on the treadmill, and like every day he'd be like, Sarah, I like ran this much and this much time. Are you proud of me? Da da da. And he just like everything he did, he just like gave it his all. Like he'd get off the treadmill like dripping in sweat, but he'd just be smiling like, oh, I knocked a minute off my personal best. And I'd never really got it. Like I didn't really like running at that point. But he just loved it. And like he was always so energetic and like enthusiastic about it. And then he signed us up to do a 5K together. And I was like, oh God, that involves
did,
like being
did you love him
fit.
for that?
Yeah, I was like, oh, but he was so excited. It was like a 5K, but after like every 500 meters, there was like an obstacle that you had to like interact with. And a lot of them involved like a big mud pool that you had to kind of traverse above or like try not to fall in. And he was showing me videos of this event. I was like, Callum, what is this? Like, I don't want to do this. I can't even run 1 kilometer. Like, what are you going to make me do? But he was like, no, we're going to do it and it's going to be fun. You're going to do all the obstacles, and so am I. And I was like, oh, okay. So that was a few months before he died. So yeah, he started doing a bit more running, as did I. And yeah, like it kind of, yeah, the Callum of that maybe you know had been transformed into some kind of fitness enthusiast.
From like a cat in human form. Yeah.
Yeah, oh my God, yeah.
To like a fitness freak.
Yeah, I mean, still maybe a fitness cat. Like it's let's
Yeah.
not get too ahead of ourselves, but yeah, it's actually funny you say that. Like, I really am not the person to be like this, but when someone dies, you do weird things. And I remember for a few months after he died, me and some of his family, particularly his brother, every time we saw a black cat, we'd be like, "It's Callum." But I'm not that. I literally am not that person that sees something and thinks someone's come back to life. But in my head, we were like, "That's Callum. He's a cat now."
That would be, I think
creepy.
no, I wasn't going to say creepy. I was going to say like ideal, like for a lot of people, I think if you were going to come back as anything, come back as a cat. I mean,
yeah,
they've got it made.
Yeah, exactly. Like, but no. But yeah, so yeah, I was gonna say the sad bit is that he actually died whilst running.
Yeah,
I think
I didn't know that either until I
you
just
read it.
read it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I,
I think
yeah, I was like at first. I know it might sound silly at first when I found out. I was like, is it because he's vegan? It was stuff like that ran through my head. I was like, oh, I told him to have a steak. I was like, it's that potato diet did him no good. Obviously that's not the case. So vegans don't hunt me down, but you have really weird thoughts like pop in your head, and
oh yeah,
and one of the most heartbreaking things for me for the period after finding out was the fact that I knew that he moved down to be with you and that you had your flat and that you were starting your life together, and that for me that was the saddest thing, and I couldn't get that out of my head because I thought that is like how unlucky do you have to be for that to happen. And I couldn't like figure that out.
No, I don't think that bit ever gets any easier. Like at the end of the day, like he was only 25 and there's so much that he wanted to do. And yeah, I think I phrased it earlier, like I do try and take comfort in the kind of that he did enjoy every day, but it doesn't stop it being completely horrific and unlucky and just unfair that happened to him, because it was a complete freak thing that happened to him. And
it makes me feel a bit guarded, that whenever people pass away, Callum or other people, you hear people talk about how they were the life and soul of the party, how they were happy. And I always think, right, I'm going to be happy and I'm going to enjoy life, but I'm not going to be 100% good and I'm not going to be 100% happy because the Lord is going to take me, or I'm going to I just want to be on the edge, on the cusp, so that like I can there's crazy thoughts like that. I don't want to be such a good person that, so enough of my crazy thoughts, but like getting back to getting back to like Callum's passing, do you want to talk about that? What?
I can try. It's something I tend not to talk about that much, but like it's
Were you,
not because I can try.
were you with him? Like,
No, I wasn't. I wasn't there. I was. So it happened on a Tuesday evening. This is what makes it even more just weird and horrific. But I'd left London that week to go to my grandma's funeral. And Callum had said, should I come with you? Like I want to be there to support you. But I said, Callum, like you've never met my grandma. Like, yes, I'm sad about it, but I will be okay. And you don't have much annual leave. Let's save your annual leave and we can do something nice together later in the year. And he offered so many times, and it's one of the things I regret, as I just sort of let him come with me, but I didn't. So I was out the country, 3 hours away in the Midlands with my family. And as far as I know, he'd got home from work and went jogging and had like an absolute mammoth asthma attack that killed him. But not, but I then got a call from his family. I was eating dinner in the hotel, and like they said he'd been taken in the ambulance to the hospital because his heart had stopped, and that's all we knew. Like we didn't understand why, and I was like, and they kept saying cardiac arrest. I was like, what do you mean cardiac arrest? Like he's healthy. Like what? So yeah, all I knew, I didn't know he'd gone running. I didn't know anything. The last he texted me is like something really boring and like, hey, home from work. Like I didn't know any of this. So I was just thinking like, what is happening? Like what, like I can't explain. Like that's the call no one ever wants to receive. And I think even having had that call, like I can't even put into words like what that felt like. And at that point I thought he was still alive, and even then, like the words cardiac arrest, that's not good. And I remember like I think I kind of like fell to the floor. Like I literally just couldn't, I'd lost use of my legs. And I remember I just went to get my parents. I was like, I need to go to London. And they were like, what's happened? So then obviously it's my dad's about to bury his mum the next morning. So my uncle drove my mum and I down to London, still not knowing what had happened. We still didn't know Callum was alive. Like all we knew, he was in hospital. And then I think about an hour into that car journey, 3-hour drive, I got a call from his mum, and she'd basically, the hospital won't tell you over the phone if it's bad news. So she'd begged them and begged them and begged them. And they told her that he didn't make it. And yeah, so I got that call about an hour into that journey. And I remember I said to my mum, I didn't say much, but I remember I said, I think this is what it feels like when your heart breaks. And like that feeling of like pain, hearing that news, like is still there now, and it's still there like every day of my life. And I don't think I can't really convey what that feels like, because I can get on with things and I can seem completely normal. But that pain has never ever left me, hearing that news and knowing that like my best friend is not here anymore. But yeah, I don't really remember too much, but we eventually got there, and they'd like put him in a side room. So his family and I and my mum, we got to go in and kind of see him and say goodbye, really. Well, yeah, it was pretty horrific, and it's one of those images that, although he looks completely peaceful and happy, like in a weird way, like still his cute little face, it's one of those images that it comes back and it's a bit of a flashback, and it's pretty horrific. But I am very grateful we did get to see him, and spend that time with his family. And until then, like, I'd only really met them a handful of times, although me and Callum were like obviously setting ourselves up for the long run in terms of our relationship, because we'd been long distance. We'd never kind of had that crossover family. And I remember my mum said to Callum's mum, like, "This is not how I expected to meet you." And I was just like, God, like, what is this world that this is happening? But I remember I said to his siblings that day, I was like, whatever happens, I'm always going to be your sister. And like, it sounds again stupid and cliche, but it felt really important to like bring that, like cement that bond, and like know that we've all gone through something unimaginable, and it continued to be unimaginable for the next few months. But that was the comfort, if there was any to gain from that, was just having them there to go through it with me, if that makes sense. And then yeah, the next few days, I don't really remember that much, but just that horrible thing of having to tell people, yourself included. I probably did it by text, and I really am sorry to anyone I did it by text, because I just couldn't call people at that point.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't think anybody would, you know,
I know.
nobody's going to hold that against you.
It's something I regret, though. I do regret it, but I think at the time I couldn't have done anything different.
We're lucky to have the technology there in order to
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so that's
hard.
It's I'm kind of like, I'm quite fortunate that I've never been through anything quite like that.
I wouldn't even say fortunate. Like, should hopefully, touch wood, that's how it should be for everybody. Like, yes, you lose people, but not like this. It's horrific. And I think that's another thing, like my friends and Callum's family, like particularly my friends that didn't know Callum as well, like they've been absolutely brilliant, but they've never lost someone before, and let alone anything like this. So I think that has been quite hard, finding people who can like even vaguely relate to how it feels, if that makes sense. Or a lot of my friends at the time had never even kind of been in a long-term relationships. They never even knew that level of love, let alone that level of loss, if that makes sense. So that's been a bit of a journey, and I found not everyone is, not even just, I'm not talking about friends here, but more acquaintances and like colleagues, not everyone has been very good at knowing how to talk about death, which has been quite shocking. I remember when I came back to work eventually, my old team I was in, no one said anything to me. Like a handful of people kind of said, "Hi, it's good to see you back. I'm sorry." But everyone else just put their head down when I walked past, because they were, I think, almost scared of me, or scared of the pain that I had in me. And that was quite eye-opening, to be honest. That these like senior adults can't even look someone in the eye.
I think maybe that might just be a symptom of how we kind of ignore it. In our day-to-day lives, we don't typically talk about it. We don't like to think about it. So, and when it happens to somebody that you know or that you work with, you kind of think, how should I approach it? And then a lot of people would just be like, oh, well, if I just don't approach it, then I'm avoiding that awkward situation or whatever.
And don't get me wrong, we've all been there. Like, I've definitely done the same in different situations. It's just when it's you, you're like, oh God, like, why is no one looking at me? What's wrong with me? But to be honest, I probably was just a bit of a wreck at that time anyway, so I don't blame them really. But
maybe you went back too early.
Oh God, yeah, probably. I just went in for like 2 hours every day for a bit to just get myself out of the house. But yeah,
I think the closest thing that I could relate that to was when I was 16 or 17, around about that age. I lost my cousin David, and he was 21 at the time, and we were always close from when I moved over to England from Ireland, when I was about 11 years old, and he was a rogue, and he was a naughty lad, and he was really handsome, and you know, he had blonde hair, and he just kind of, he was like the lovable, charming rogue. You know, he'd just go and do his own thing and get in trouble, and so yeah, I was the last person to see him alive before he died. And I remember that he came to the house, and he was, I think it was raining, I can't remember. I let him in, but because he was like a rogue, my dad was like, don't let David in the house. Like he steals. Like he'll steal something. Like don't let him in. So you know, my dad was super strict, and you know, he was overboard, like with his strictness, and so I was scared, but I let David in anyway. And then you know, he came in, and we sat in the kitchen. I was like, look, you can't stay for long, because if my dad comes back, you know, I'm going to get a hiding. And he said, can you make me a cup of tea? And I was like, I really can't. I was like, we really don't have time for that. Like, I was like, there's no way I can make you a cup of tea. And he was like, oh, please make me a cup of tea. I was like, I can't. I really can't. And anyway, he hung out for a little bit, and then he left. And then about an hour went by, and then my dad came home, and I was like, whew, right, they didn't bump into each other. You know, I didn't get in trouble. And then, you know, I went to, I think, yeah, I must have been at school. So I went to school the next day, and then I came home. And I was upstairs at the time, and I think I was playing a game on a PlayStation or something, and then I heard my dad come in. And I'll never forget this. He said, he came in, I was like, all right, Dad. And he said, you don't have to worry about David coming around to the house anymore, because he's dead. And I was like, what?
Oh my God.
And that's how he broke it to me. And I was like, oh. So it didn't really, I thought he was joking in a sick way, or like, you know, I hoped he was joking. But it was true. He was gone, and he didn't live very far away. He just moved into a new flat that was literally a 1 or 2 minute walk away from our house. So it was very close by. And then because of the manner in which he died, like sort of mysteriously, it was deemed death by misadventure. There was no real sort of reason, I don't think. You know, I don't, but I had to, because I was the last person that saw him alive, I had to go to court, and, you know, sort of testify about everything. And then my dad took me to go and see the body, but I didn't go in. So I'm kind of like, I'm thankful for that I didn't want to, because I didn't want to have that memory. Yeah. And then they asked me, like, if I wanted to carry the coffin, and so I did that. And it was weird. Like, you know, I'm way older now than David was, but he's you know, he's still my big cousin. And I remember the one time that he got the only time that he got really mad at me was I was about 11 or 12, and he gave me a fiver, and he said, "Oh, go to the shop and get yourself a comic or whatever." I was like, "Oh, cool, thanks." Yeah, so I went to the shop and I bought 3 comics and a chocolate bar, and I spent the whole thing. I spent the whole fiver. I came back and he was like, "Where's my change?" And I was like, "Oh, these were this much and this." And he was so angry, but he was okay. He was all right with it. So yeah. So
Amazing.
I guess that's the closest comparative thing. But
Yeah.
it's not the same as the impact from that. Like, I can't remember the impact from that. It was so long ago now. I was 16
Yeah, you're
or
so
something.
young.
Yeah, but it's completely different when you lose somebody like a cousin compared to losing somebody that you're madly you're in love with, and you have a future together and you have those plans. So it's so what did you do next?
Survived, is the way I put it. Like, as I say, it's such a blur, but I kind of just gradually started to allow my life back in, and get this new normal that I had to kind of cope with. Like, I went back to work gradually, building up over months and months, like doing a few hours here and building up. And that helped, having a routine. But I remember just every day I'd leave the office and just walk home in tears, because you hold it inside all day and trying to be professional and together. But I just burst into tears every day. But I kept doing it and started kind of getting counselling as well, quite early on, to kind of help me deal with it, which I'm very thankful for. And that's something I've carried through until very recently. I've been basically constantly in counselling out of my own choice, just to kind of process the trauma of it and the way I was feeling. Like, I remember early on, even smiling, I'd feel guilty. And now that seems silly, because I'm like, that's all Callum would want, like, just to be happy and like enjoying things. But over the first year, like, I just really battled with that, and kind of, I didn't enjoy much, but when I did, I felt so awful. But yeah, just gradually, Callum's family and friends were a big part of kind of that kind of beginning of I don't even know the word, but just beginning to kind of establish a new life. Like, I saw his family very, very often, about once a month up until the pandemic. I saw them once a month until since he died, and kept in touch with some of his best friends as well, who, especially in the early days, I just want to say shout out to James, who like completely saved me, like getting through those early days and being that support when I needed him. And just kind of surviving and dealing with every day as it came, and eventually trying to pick up. I remember I did a spider diagram, or like a mind map. What do I enjoy? Because I just completely lost my identity, and everything I had enjoyed was me and Callum. Like, we were completely just like meshed as a unit, kind of like we just did everything together, and we kind of had everything set out how we did it, and had this mind map. What do I enjoy? What does like Sarah enjoy? And one of the things I wrote on there is singing, and I'm not a good singer, just definitely lay that out there. But I know I enjoy it. Like, on a night out, I like singing along to songs and stuff. So that was one of the things I ran with, and I was like, right, I'm gonna join a choir. And I found this like community choir that I went to on a Tuesday, and it was fun. And it, like, some days I just stood there feeling absolutely crap, because I was still like hurting so badly. But I went every Tuesday, and by the end, like, felt a bit lighter, and it was just nice to kind of be around different people who didn't know anything, and kind of sing lame songs. And then that's when the running started, which was something I never ever thought would happen, because we had this event, right, that Callum had signed us up to, this 5K, and that was he died in May, and that was in the September. So before long, I had to start thinking about, oh God, I need to be able to run.
Get in shape. You need to get in shape for it.
Yeah, and like bear in mind, like when someone you love dies, like your eating goes out the window. Like some people eat a lot, some people don't eat at all. I didn't eat at all. I couldn't eat. So I was so skinny. Like I'm already quite a skinny person, but I was tiny.
I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, I was tiny. I lost any muscle I had. That was gone. So I think that maybe was in my favor because I just like didn't have to try very hard to move. It was just like, okay.
You were light.
Yeah, exactly.
Like a breeze was like helping you.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, so I trained and I did that run with my friend Samia, who kindly stepped up to take Callum's place for that event, and that like it really like sparked something in me. Like I don't know, like doing something for him, particularly this event that he had literally wanted us to do together, and kind of using that as my motivation to kind of get from start to finish and give it my best. It felt really nice and really special. And then meanwhile, Callum's school friends had been training for their first half marathon. And again, this was like directly related. They wanted to do it in Callum's memory. And seeing them, I wasn't ready to run a half marathon by that point. 5K was my limit, but I went to watch them finish, and yeah, seeing the kind of physical impact, like I don't know, seeing how tired they were and like emotional, like in that, and how proud they were. I really was so proud of them. And I remember I said to Callum's mum, I'm going to do it next year. And then that's kind of how it started, in terms of that really became a release from some quite difficult emotions, in terms of like just getting out, rain or shine, and just running and running, even if it hurts. And of course, even if I'm thinking this is how Callum died, like that was always a hard thing that I kind of dealt with early on. But seeing myself getting better and better at it, and I started doing kind of fundraising for different lengths of runs, like a 10K and then the half marathon, and seeing that people who loved Callum, they seemed to respond well to it as a way to kind of remember him and honour him by donating or sharing the page or just showing their support. And that was kind of a positive that we could all get behind. And I remember that first half marathon I ran, seeing Callum's family and friends out cheering us on, like they were so emotional seeing it, probably because they were just like crying how awful I looked, and like oh my God, she's not going to make it to the end. But it was really special. And like, yeah, since then I just kind of kept it up, and I'm definitely not an athlete by any means, but I just try and get out when I can and like to have something to aim for.
So I was going to say, like, how often do you go now?
Well, lockdown's been hard, let's be honest.
What's that been like for you? Because I remember when we first got locked down, there was a frenzy in the office at work, and there was myself and a couple of colleagues were like, oh, let's just take what we can, and you know, because we don't know if we're coming back, and
we don't know.
And I came home and I was like, babe, we need to dig up the whole of the back garden and plant potatoes, because we don't know what the streets are going to be like out there, you know. And actually nothing really happened except for people going crazy over toilet roll, and Tiger King, obviously. Yes. that was the thing in the beginning.
What memories.
Yeah. I just read today that the Tiger King himself, he's just launched a Tiger crypto coin, cryptocurrency from prison, because obviously he's in prison.
Yeah, he's definitely in prison.
Yeah, but he tweeted it somehow. Maybe somebody did it on his behalf. So yeah, lockdown. I remember I was thinking at first I was kind of freaking out, And then after a
Yeah.
few weeks, I was like sunbathing and thinking, "That's
Yeah,
all
it was
right."
beautiful, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Like early last year. Yeah.
but then I had too much time to think about things. So,
Yeah.
like, I guess a lot of people have been in that situation with not
100%.
not much to do, and not, not too many distractions, and then things come forward, and then you have to try and process them.
Yeah, 100. Yeah, it's I'm not gonna lie, it's been hard year and a half. Like, I think at first it was like I had to stop all those things that I had taken up to kind of get me through my grief, and like things like going to choir, or like regularly would go around to my best friends for dinner like once a week, and not being able to do those things. And then, as you say, kind of being trapped, literally trapped in your house with your own thoughts. It was hard, but I think at motivation, I was like, it's only going to be a few months. Like, I'd got on the home workouts, I was there every day, like, yeah. But I think by the time like last winter came around, I was just like completely done with it. It's hard. It's been a really hard year. I think I've just shut off my brain a little bit, and as I say, a lot of the support networks and mechanisms I had in place are not there, and I haven't been able to see Callum's family. Like, that's been a big change. Like, as I say, I saw them once a month, and now I haven't seen them since September. Now I saw them last summer, but I'm actually going tomorrow, so that will be really nice.
Oh, that'll be good. I bet they've missed you.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Or they're glad to not see me for a bit, but no, it'll be really nice, and that's just like always a good chance to like just laugh about like stupid Callum memories, or yeah, just we all understand the pain of it, so it's always nice being around people who get it.
Yeah.
And as I say, we've been through hell and back together, so it's always they're part of my life that I think will always stay. But anyway, so yeah, lockdown's been pretty crap, but I'm feeling a little bit more positive, aiming for the summer months, and like and like, yeah, big thing was we were meant to be running the marathon last year in London, and that obviously got cancelled, or it got postponed, and then it got cancelled. And that was really hard. That was really, really hard, because like,
So did you train for that? And then
yeah.
So when you train for the marathon, how do you do that? Because you got people who are just incredible natural athletes like Eddie Izzard, who just goes and just runs
one a day.
Didn't train and just started, and now there's one a day.
Yeah, that's not me. That's not me. To train for a marathon, if you're me, I try and run like 3 or 4 times a week, and then the final run of the week is always a long run. So
and what kind of distances do you do for those?
So the longest you should ever do before you run a marathon is, I think it's about 21 miles, and the marathon itself is 26. But I never got that far in my training. The first time around, I got to about 15, 16 miles, which is still quite a long way. quite. That's like half a day out just running.
Yeah.
And then I kind of thought, God, because they took it very last minute to announce the April cancellation. So I was still running in March, like, are they going to cancel it? Like, what's going on? But yeah, so I'd got up to a pretty solid distance, and then that was a bit of a blow to know that it's all for nothing. Not nothing, but we've got a lot of donations, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, so you have a target that you're raising funds for Diabetes UK. Is that the charity name? Yeah, Diabetes UK. So what was your original target?
So there's 4 of us running: myself, Rory, Sam and Niall, who are some of Callum's like childhood friends, and we had to raise altogether 7,800, and that is however much that is each, is how much you have to raise to run on behalf of a charity. So we've got there, we've done it. We're on about 8,800 now, which is,
you're on 8,805.
And someone donated today.
Oh wow! Let's have a look.
So I don't know who that was, but thank you to them. But yeah, I would absolutely love before we run to take it over 10. But
And maybe even 15.
maybe, like, in my head, I'm like 15 would be nice, because that's like kind of double what we were meant to get. But
Yeah.
and it's been a hard year for the charity as well. So anything we could do. But yeah, and it's just, as I say, like, it just feels like a lovely way to kind of channel so much pain and emotion into something, and it's something friends and family can get behind, and it's a way that we can talk about Callum without it being painful, maybe. Like, I think that's what's been nice about it.
Yeah.
We all know why we're doing it, and it's a good way, I found, to kind of tell his story a little bit. Like, at work, I was in a new team, so they didn't know about my kind of story, I guess. But I did like a massive, you know, Bake Off, the TV show.
Yeah.
I did like a Bake Off at work, like a big ordeal. It went on for like 10 weeks. It was very competitive, but it was a really beautiful way. Now I'd kind of stabilized my emotions and was able to kind of confidently talk about it, to kind of tell people about Callum, and at the same time, instead of saying, oh God, I can't imagine how you dealt with it, they can say, I'm really sorry, it's so awesome that you're doing this. And it kind of just changes the narrative a little bit, in a way that is like really cool, I think. And yeah, we've raised an incredible amount of money. I can't quite believe it. And yeah, I just want to keep going.
And yeah, so that's part of the reason why you're here now, is to try and raise awareness for Callum, and also for the event as well. So are you still training right now?
Yes, so I have officially started my training. So the marathon is meant to be, like, please, fingers crossed, it's meant to be in October.
Yeah.
So I've literally this week started my training plan. So this morning I've ran 8 miles, which was quite painful, and I'm not sure I'm going to be able to stand up after this call, to be honest, but it feels really good to be aiming for that. And I know that will change again, because it's really hard, it's really tiring training for a marathon, but it's something to aim for, and I'm excited. Hopefully it happens.
And do you think after this in October, when you succeed and you do the marathon, is it something that, are you going to continue running? Is it now, like, is it a new love of yours? Like, are you going to continue to do more running, more marathons?
I think so. I don't know in terms of races, but I think the mental health benefits to me, like, of running, like, even if it's just a short run, like, I don't think I can ever, until my knees give in, I'm going to keep doing it, because it's like so easy. You don't need anything. You just put your trainers on, you go. And that's like saved me, honestly, having that as like a release.
And when you run, do you listen to music?
I do, and don't ask me what, because it's really embarrassing. Like, a bit of everything. I listen to podcasts sometimes, musical soundtracks when I need like a emotional, like, pump, or just like random playlists. Or I have like a playlist actually that's my Callum playlist, that's like, I have two. There's like a sad one,
Yeah,
and then there's a Callum's birthday playlist, which I played at a gathering we got for him, and that's like lots of happy songs that he liked. So sometimes I play that as a little kind of trip down memory lane.
yeah, because I wanted to ask you, what kind of music did Callum like? What did he like to listen to?
Eclectic is the word that comes to mind. I don't know if you had much experience with his music taste.
I can't remember, no.
No, like, literally.
Oh, he liked the ginger comedian who plays piano.
Yeah, Tim Minchin.
Tim Minchin, yeah.
Yeah, he loved Tim Minchin. So, like, yeah, stuff like that. And Bo Burnham obviously is like musical comedy as well. He loved that kind of thing. But then at the other end of the spectrum, he loved like rap, like Eminem. From like old school Callum would have loved Eminem. And then, like, more recently, there's this guy who's like a poet called Akala. who does a lot of kind of spoken word. He likes a lot of poetry, did Callum, but Akala did like spoken word or rap around kind of like issues around race and like stuff like that that Callum really enjoyed listening to. So something really deep and lyrical. But let's think about this playlist. Like I think there's a One Direction song on there. Like I mean, that might be, not that I'm a big fan of One Direction, but that was a particular memory that is linked to me. But there's everything. And we loved Ed Sheeran as well. We listened to Ed Sheeran a lot together. That was like we fell in love listening to Ed Sheeran. And now I kind of like, oh God, that's so cringe, because maybe that he's not the best musician in the world, but at the time.
I think Ed Sheeran is like, you know, he's a storyteller, isn't he? You know,
Yeah,
through his
really
music.
good lyrics.
And you said that Callum loved stories and reading, so I think, you know, that fits in quite nicely.
Exactly, like Ed Sheeran and a lot of the kind of rappers Callum will listen to, like he's that person who knows every word and like the intricacies of the story that is being told, whereas I'm just there like, oh, this is a good tune. But he really enjoyed that part of it.
And was this is like a kind of off-topic question, but was Callum ever bothered by race or anything? You know, did he ever get any hassle? You know?
Yes, he's told, like before I knew him, he told me when he was growing up in Peterborough, which is it is quite a diverse community, but I think there's, correct me, I don't know if I'm right in saying this, but from what he told me at the time, it felt the community was quite separated between the kind of white British community and the Southeast Asian community. So I think there was racism. He'd had people kind of shout at him in the street to do with the colour of his skin, his appearance. Even as you say, he looked Spanish, but these people picked out the kind of like Pakistani look, and he had that element to it. But like, I think it was one of those things that he's very good at rising above it, and he was very passionate at reading about, as I say, like anything to do with that. But since he moved to London, like obviously no one cares here. It's very different.
Multicultural, isn't it?
Yeah. But yeah, like it's something I wish I'd kind of spoken about a bit more. And like, but he always seemed like, yeah, that happened to me, but like that's not me. I'm better than that. And very kind of level-headed about it.
I wonder what you would make of everything that's happened over the past few years.
I do. Like he was very I'm sure you might remember, like very opinionated I mean that in a loving way, not in a kind of, oh, you're so opinionated, but he loved a discussion about kind of politics and issues going on in the news. And I think it would have been really interesting to see how he kind of dealt with it.
Yeah, how he interpreted it and analysed it, and what kind of opinion he would form about different events over the past 4 years.
100%.
Yeah,
something I miss. Those, just having, he kind of was always one step ahead, and, well, Sarah, what do you think about this? And I'm like, oh God, I don't know. Like, but it was always educational to hear his view, and he'd probably already read 20 articles and watched loads of YouTube videos before I'd even like seen it was a news story. So I always learned a lot from him.
So how can people get a hold of you? Because I mean, obviously I'm gonna post all of the links on the social media and on my website and everything. So is there any, I think it's I can read it from here. It's www.justgiving.com/fundraising/team, and then it's what do you call that? The
hyphen dash, yeah, I'm not sure.
hyphen Callum 2020. And I'll put the link in the description of the video, and then I'll also put the link to your blog, and with your permission, is it all right if I copy that blog and put it in my blog, and then I'll
of course, okay, absolutely.
So is there anything else that you want to say or want to talk about, or do you want
gosh. there's like there's so much to say. Like I really appreciate actually having the chance to talk about him today. Like it's 4 years today since he died, and it's leading up to it. I think with lockdown, it's my brain's just kind of goes a bit numb to it sometimes. I think it's just how I process things, and I don't really get the chance that often to bring up these memories and talk about him in the way I have today. And I think that really means a lot to me, and it's something that's it's got me thinking a bit about how I can kind of keep doing that in different ways, whether like I write more blogs or I don't know, just be a bit more open and talking about him. And obviously there's some painful things we discussed today that I don't need to bring up, but it's more like whenever I can, I do try and like say his name in conversation and be like, oh, Callum would have hated that, or Callum, that reminds me of when Callum like did this silly thing. But yeah, like I think, I don't know, it's mad that 4 years have passed.
I think the one thing that really comes through with the images is the sense of fun. So do you think like to sort of finish up what I was thinking, I'm gonna share the screen. Is that all right?
Yeah. Okay.
And then maybe you can like, we'll go through the images and you can tell us, you know, what's going on.
Okay, I can try.
Okay.
Some of them are before my time, but I can
if they are, we can, you know, we can skip them, but you know, obviously lots of love to the people who were in them and the people who shared them and everything.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so this album I've shared with you is just after Callum died, I asked friends and family to just add their favorite images and save them in there.
So can you see that now?
Yeah, I can see that.
Okay. And so it might be a little bit small. There we go. So that's Callum there.
This is baby Callum. I don't even know how old he must have been there. Maybe, I don't know, 15. And I didn't know him at this point, but the blonde girl is called Natalie, one of his best friends. I don't know the other girl, but yeah, that's
you can see his little cheeky face.
so funny. Oh, this was
this guy looks like he's gonna take you out.
I mean, I probably deserved it. I think I'd had a lot of vodka by that point. But yeah, that was my kind of university like end of year ball, I think, which Callum came along to, and that shortly after that picture was taken, he was vomiting in his boxers in my bedroom sink. Really good times. That's the same.
This is the same event.
Yeah,
so what's going? Is it a silent disco? Is that what's going on here?
Yeah. It's a silent disco, which is entertaining because there's like a few different channels you can tune into. So you'll see like he'd be like bopping along to something, and we're like, what? And then he'd be like, change the channel. But yeah, that was super fun. That's my best friend Lizzie. They were really good friends as well. This is the same friend Natalie. I think I knew him. I recognise the haircut, the many haircuts of Callum.
His hair was amazing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's sometimes very Hugh Grant of him.
That's one way to put it. But he actually, typical Callum. Oh, so these, I think these are some of his like old school friends. I think I recognise Rory in the middle there.
This person.
Yeah, that's Rory. Is one of his oldest friends. And
this is London, and there's London. Tower Bridge. So what is this, the South Bank, or what's this called?
Yeah, that was that. I don't even know. That's about 10 days before he died. That's his brother Ben and his brother's partner at the time, Anne, and we'd met up for a little gathering. I think it was for Ben's. Well, I don't know what it was for. Maybe Ben's birthday or Anne's birthday. And we went up the Shard, and then we walked across the bridge. We actually snuck into the Shard. You're not really meant to go without a booking, but we just went up to look at the view and then came back down. And then went to get some cocktails, and it was really fun. And yeah, I just love this picture, even though we're all like blinded by the sun.
You can't see it all. Yeah.
I just love like how Callum's like leaning into Ben there. It's just really cute.
Yeah.
Oh yes, this was his 25th birthday.
I remember this top. I remember.
Oh yeah.
Oh, actually, I remember when Callum moved out, he left his towel.
Oh yeah.
And this was like a famous Callum towel. And I don't know how old this towel was, but he left it. And I said, oh, you know, dude, I'll post this towel to you. And and he was like, oh no, bro, it's cool. Like you keep it. And so I kept it, and I was like, okay, free towel. That's not bad, you know. And I tried to wash it, you know, a few times, and I just couldn't get the Callum out of the towel. Like, you know, it smelled like it. Yeah.
I remember you offered to send it to me. I was like,
oh right, yeah.
I was like, it's okay, Paul. You can keep that one.
keep the towel. I must have it somewhere around here. I tend not to throw things away, so
no.
I've probably got it.
It's a sentimental towel.
I remember this top.
Yeah, I've got that top. I have a few of his clothes like in my wardrobe just for like sentimental reasons. Yeah. And that's one of the ones that I kept, like, because it's just such a Callum top.
Yeah.
And these are his school. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Looks tiny.
Yeah, he was a full grown man. I promise. This is some of his school friends. So some of the guys there. Oh my god, the hair is brilliant.
Yeah. What year is this? There's a lot of played.
Yeah. There's some results. Some of the guys were running the marathon with are all in that picture.
That's these lads, is it?
Yeah, Rory in the front, and then Sam and Niall at the back.
Which are they?
That's Brad. He's a good friend. So Niall's the one next to Callum.
This.
Yeah, and then below Callum is Sam.
This guy.
Yeah, and then next to him is Rory, and we're running the race. So this is baby so Callum, cute. Yeah. Very cute, and Ben, his brother.
And he hadn't changed much, I noticed.
He looks the same.
Yeah, he's all he's lacking is the glasses.
Yeah, basically.
It's the same.
So cute.
Yeah. And that's pretty cool. I was amazed when I saw this, because
I know.
Yeah, I didn't think, you know, that he'd do something like this.
I mean, it's all in the camera angles. But we had a little photo shoot where that's his Uncle Craig.
Yeah.
And I think it was me or his brother was stood there, and they like just basically bend the knees as much as they can and jump in the air. So bear in mind that's a flat bit of ground. It's not like
okay.
They couldn't do that and an actual jump, but
right, because to me, like when I saw it, I was like, wow, they've come down there and then they jumped up this bit.
Yeah, that's what they wanted you to think.
If anybody asks, then you know.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, that
he will be drunk here again, right?
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, look at those eyes.
What's this? 2010. Yeah, 2010.
Oh yeah, so this is London Callum. So I think this is before we lived together, maybe. But I remember my friends and him had like a nice weekend sightseeing around. That was really fun.
That's quite a good top.
Yeah.
Hope. Yeah.
I actually this is maybe a bit somber, but I chose that top to put him in for his when he got cremated. So that literally went to the grave with him, that top, because I'm very sad I don't have it anymore actually, but it was like he loved it. He loved it so much.
So yeah, I didn't even, you know, in my imagination I thought he would be suited and booted.
No, I was like, he wouldn't have wanted that.
No.
He was wearing his Leeds hoodies from his uni, that top, his favourite trainers, and some jeans.
Wow.
And I chose out his favourite boxers and his favourite socks to put in as well. So yeah, no, he was just dressed as Callum.
Yeah. And then
there he is. There he is. He looks so tanned, goodness.
Yeah.
So, he's been on holiday, but those are his best mates from uni.
Yeah, from Leeds.
Yeah, the Leeds lot. That was some kind of bar we went to. I think it was for our anniversary, and the bar.
Did you take this picture?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can tell.
I just, when I look at this picture, I just think he's looking at you there. Like,
I know, that's why I
yeah,
love it, because you can
yeah,
see, that's what he looked like when he looked at me, and it's nice to have it captured.
yeah.
Which is, yeah, I love that picture. I think the guy at the bar just like brought over that random ice block love heart and put it in between us. So I was like, okay.
He knew. He can you can recognize it, can't you? You can see
Yeah,
it.
yeah, I love that picture. Oh goodness. Oh, okay.
You won't forgive us for this one.
No, I think oh my. So that is, I mean, everything about this is just cool. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
look at that hoodie, the arms crossed, the cool glasses.
He's just so laid back.
Amazing. So
And then
that's
this
his
is his
brother, and
sister, isn't it? And is that his
yeah,
brother? Yeah.
that's his big brother Ben and his little sister Maria.
Yeah.
So cute. I think that was, I don't even know when that was, but yeah.
And there's that Hugh Grant like
The Hugh Grant
floppiness.
face.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you know he actually kept growing it and then donated it to charity, cut it off, and
Really?
you know, of course he did, because it's Callum.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's how he went from very long to very short. He actually like shaved it.
All
But
the way
this,
off. Like,
yeah.
wow.
That was a weird time. That one was when he was, well,
Do you want me to go back? This one. When was
yeah,
this?
that was 2017 Callum in the workplace at Diabetes UK. I just love that picture because he looks just like such an adult. I'm so proud of him. And then I think the next one is his work.
Yeah.
With
And then
work
like the
buddies.
opposite.
Yeah, that's the same day, I reckon.
Yeah. Actually, is it?
It's the same jumper.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the two sides of Callum.
Yeah.
So Callum's family do like a yearly camping trip like this. He's got a massive family. So this was us camping with his brother in the background, jumping in. And Callum wearing I think that top says "World's Okayest Brother," and that was a gift from his brother Ben to him. And that I love this. I gave the top back to Ben actually, and Ben's put it in like a frame, which is really cool, and like has it on the wall, so their little memory is kept on the wall now. Oh wow, so that's totally normal teenage boy behavior going on. Don't know much about who's in that picture, but looks like a laugh.
We've all been there.
We've all been there.
I love this picture.
This is brilliant. More drunken times at one of my uni events, I think, shortly before the vomit.
And he looks so handsome there.
He looks very handsome.
Yeah, he's full of charisma, and you're just like, yeah.
I've had vodka.
Yeah.
That was the day. The next day he woke up and he was like, "Sarah, where are my shoes?" I was like, "Babe, I don't know." And we had to like go and walk around looking for them, and he just like left them in the kind of gardeny bit, and they were just sat there in a little pair overnight. I was like, "How did this happen?" Oh dear.
At least they weren't stolen.
I know.
What's going on here? Like, are you led down?
We're on a bouncy castle, Paul. That I love. This is one of my favorite pictures ever. I just love it. Like neither of us look great, but we look happy, and it's just amazing. Very drunk though.
You do. You look unbelievably happy together there.
Yeah. Just too cute. Again, more bouncy castle.
This is a different time. Like,
yeah. So these parties at my uni every year, different dress, but same bouncy castle, right? It was the highlight of the night.
And the hair was getting longer.
And the hair. Oh no, here we go. So his hair's had a chop at this point. So this was the last one, I think.
And is this like this is another silent disco?
Yeah, exactly. We loved a silent disco.
So silent discos and bouncy castles.
Yeah, it was really fun. Yeah, I love that picture.
You guys are too cute. And is this Harry Potter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is at the what's it called? Warner Brothers tour thing and near London. We went there for I think it was like a birthday present or something. But yeah, had the best time, and I love this picture. It's still my like desktop background.
Yeah, Naomi and I, we've had tickets for there for ages, but then
Oh,
because of the lockdown and everything, so we hope to go. Like,
I hope you get to. It's so good. I'd say
yeah.
like we went at Christmas because they, or like near Christmas because they like cover everything in snow, like all the.
Yeah, I bought like a Christmas ticket, but
Oh,
they're gonna honor it, so we'll probably go later in the year.
yeah, definitely worth going, and I want to go again. They've got so many new things. I think
I
it's
think
awesome though.
it's gonna be great. I love stuff like that.
Yeah.
There you are. Are you on
Um,
holiday there, or
that's
where
our
are you there?
holes. We were in France. We went kayaking, I think you'd call it. I think it was this time, but there was a big incident where we had some miscommunication and ended up crashing into a tree that had like fallen across part of the river. And it was a classic, like Callum was like, steer left. But I steered right. And well, I would argue it was his fault. He'd argue it's my fault. But we ended up crashing into a tree. I dropped my paddle. It went down the river. Luckily, someone down the river stopped it and waited for us. But that was like one of the only arguments we ever had was, I told you to go left. No, I told you to go right. But it was brilliant. And he still had a great time and made us go back the next year. So
Looks nice.
but even though he couldn't really swim very well, he still had a great time. I was like, please do up that life jacket. This is a little video.
Is he at Go Ape here?
Yeah, this is I got this from his work colleagues. They had like an away day to Go Ape. Can't have been that long before he went, but I just loved it's funny like seeing him move, and if that makes sense. Like
yeah, I thought that.
videos.
Yeah, because I don't have any videos or anything of him, and I thought, this is the most alive. You see him and you just think, yeah, he's there.
Yeah,
he's being awkward. Like,
yeah, look, how is he being awkward on that? But he is.
Yeah.
But I do enjoy watching that. I'm glad they have that. Oh wow, that was a look.
He's gone for this. Yeah, that is a look.
I think that's the look, because I think that was what he looked like when me and him got together. So you can pass judgment on his hair. That was his first night at uni, I think, with his friends.
Okay.
Yeah, Charlotte and Dan.
They're important times then, your formative years.
Exactly.
Formative drinking.
Yes, indeed.
Oh yeah, wow.
That is really hot. That is Oh god, how funny.
Bless you. Oh, this is a proud moment.
Oh, this is graduation.
Callum Westbrook.
You could only have two guests, so me and his mum were sat, and we could hear us cheering there, because it was really nice. I hadn't met his mum loads of times before that, so we had a little bonding day, like watching him graduate. It was lovely.
That's nice. There he is.
Yeah, no one likes this picture. We don't think it captures him, but you can't not have a graduation picture.
Yeah, he kind of looks I don't know, a bit too serious, or he's not looking into the camera.
Yeah, he's a little bit wonky there.
Yeah. I think the photographer should have clicked his face. I don't know, maybe he was thinking of something else, and he just
I think he's like, oh, what's for dinner? I wonder if we're potatoes.
How many potatoes can I eat today?
Amazing. We actually did have chips for dinner, I remember. This was that same trip when he came to London or whatever we were doing, but I love this picture, and particularly the man's knees in the background.
Yeah. Really weird. This is a better look. This is a much better look.
This is when I had my influence on him and started to style him up a bit.
Yeah. The captain.
Yeah, I love that little museum we went to, I think.
Was that in London?
Yeah, that's the HMS Belfast. It's like a
the boat on the okay.
Yeah, it's really cool. I'd recommend people go to that.
Okay.
That surprised me. And I'm not a massive museum person, but it was really good. These are, I love this picture. This is a drunk party, I imagine, with
Like
some
a
of the
student
school.
party or something.
Yeah, these are his school friends, so probably
Oh,
not
wow.
even, probably wasn't even 18. Like, not that that matters, but yeah. Well, I can see Rory and Helen that I know in that picture. This is us being cute.
Very cute.
Early on, I think, in our relationship. Probably he was probably hating his life about them because he had horrific hay fever. And anytime I suggested let's go and sit in the park, it would end with, did you remember how he sneezed? No. Oh goodness. Okay.
What was it? Was it just like the loudest sneeze in the world?
So it was loud, but the key was there was never just one. So like,
Yeah.
you're not like a chew, it's like literally at least 6, a chew, and that counts as one. And
right.
so when he had hay fever, it was just a different level. Like, I mean, once he had a cold and then hay fever, and I don't know how he ever stopped sneezing. But anyway, he probably was hating me about then when I made him sit in the field.
But it looks good.
It looks cute, so it's worth it. That's the uni lot again. I think we've seen that one.
Yeah, I think we saw that one.
Someone put it in twice. This is the same. I think this is the same uni lot. You can see at the forefront.
I was guess, look at this. Like, they're so classy. They have some beer, some Strongbow, but they also have cake.
Yeah, some really nice looking cake.
Yeah. Where did that
Strongbow is Callum's favourites. That was definitely his.
There they are.
Oh yeah, there they are. No, that was definitely Callum's Strongbow.
Strongbow and cake.
Yeah, but the saddest thing is it probably wasn't vegan cake. So this is what happened. He
would just eat it anyway.
No, he wouldn't. He was strict.
He wouldn't. Oh, okay.
He would have been starving and like just, oh, it's fine, I'll have another Strongbow. This is the uni lot again. I can't remember this event, but maybe some end of year party thing.
They probably can't remember it either.
No, it doesn't look like it. Oh goodness, that is a good one. Why have I forgotten this photo till now? It's so charming.
That is a good one. Look at this guy.
That's his friend Lizzie from uni. Lots of drunk times. Oh god.
So much fun.
I think he's got pigtails in that picture. You can't really tell, but there was a time they went out and he got pigtails put in by someone.
The girls probably did that to him.
Yeah, exactly. That's what he would have told me anyway.
Yeah. What a fun-looking bunch.
Yeah, honestly.
Looks like she's drinking a brew.
I mean, I don't blame her. Good shout. That's the same lot again. Uni guys.
I'm sure they definitely did studying at some point. They definitely studied. I mean, nobody takes pictures of themselves in the library, I'm sure.
This one's funny. It's like so gormless. Yeah, here's the pigtails. You can just about make them out.
Like here and here.
I don't know. Yeah. And that was one of his favourite t-shirts that has got lost. I think that's from Firefly. Is it to do with Firefly, the TV show?
I'm not sure. I think he probably convinced me to try and watch Firefly.
Yeah, he would have done. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, nah, I'm not into it. Which is,
no.
Yeah, I know. I think that was the one thing that I was like, no, I've tried before, and I'm really not into it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm the same. Like, I think it was a daily conversation at one point. Like, Sarah, just watch it. I'm like, it's not for me, Callum, but just watch it.
Which is weird because, like, I love Star Trek and Star Wars.
Yeah,
and,
you'd love it.
Yeah, everything like that. But just Firefly, I don't know why.
You didn't jam with it. Okay,
it's like
so
a Halloween.
That's a Halloween night, and him and his best. How does that work so well? He's just a natural. I think he's meant to be a gangster.
Yeah, it says there. Look on his hand.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, this is his uni. This is uni What is that? No. Oh, he's in the left.
Oh, there he is. There he is.
Yeah, this was his uni poetry club.
Ah, okay.
Which his
Did
friend
he do
James
like
set up.
slam poetry or something?
He never read me his poetry, but I think he read me one. But I think he wrote for every week and had to like perform it or like speak it out loud. But so I'm not really sure. I need to ask James there what some of his poetry was like. But let's pretend it was slam poetry.
And there you are getting in your first ever fight.
Yeah.
That looks nice.
It was amazing.
That water looks really clear. And this, I thought, was this like a Harry Potter thing as well?
That's in the same place as like the night bus. Did a little pose photo shoot by it, as you have to.
And can you go inside it?
I think that's as far as you can go.
Okay.
That's his sister and his dog Chansey. He's still going strong.
Oh.
I think Chansey is named after the Pokemon, but I've never heard of Chansey the Pokemon. So.
Yeah.
Oh, is that a thing? Okay, good. Yeah. I'm sure it is. Like, yeah. I think, these are school friends again. Great fashion once again from Callum. Yeah. He was known for his fashion, of course.
What was he thinking?
I mean, he thought he looked good. Look at him.
Yeah.
You know, he's owning that. Oh, this is one of his oldest friends, Jamie.
This looks like a very sweaty, drunken night. I mean, look at they're drinking WKD blue. Like, come on.
God.
That t-shirt, I don't know what that is.
That's
but
a lot going on there. I don't even know who these. Oh no, I think that's school people again.
Yeah.
Very young.
It looks pretty old, doesn't it?
He's gone for the stripes again. That was clearly there.
Stripes and jeans.
This is I think again this was his freshers week.
Yeah, his hair is very long there.
Very long. Yeah.
Very.
This is one of his best friends, West. Really attractive photos. This was at his cousin's wedding. Did a little photo shoot because he was looking so smart.
Yeah. I wonder what was he thinking there?
He's giving me a slightly evil look. He's like, Sarah, start taking photos of me.
Yeah.
Or like, when's the dinner coming? Is it potatoes?
Yeah, he looks he looks hangry, doesn't he?
Yeah, there's some rage going on
beneath the surface.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Where is
this
it? Oh, there he is.
School lot again. Yeah, some kind of trip. Alton Towers or something, I guess.
Yeah, actually it looks like that. Yeah. I think it will be.
Don't know where this is taken. He's got a stamp on his hand, so I think we were out somewhere, but that's all I can tell you. We look drunk. That's his friend West with a really cool hat on.
Full of buttons.
Yeah. This was the snowboarding escapade, which I must add, that trip was my first time snowboarding, and bless him, because I don't know if you've been snowboarding, but it's really hard. And
I've been indoor snowboarding on the the slope in Manchester near the Trafford Centre. Yeah,
I need to actually go, because I mean I went and didn't go to any lessons. I just relied on Callum to teach me, and I cried so many times. It really hurts and it's really cold.
Yeah.
But we got there, and I think this was the end of the week when we survived, and we knew that when we survived this, we can get through anything.
Yeah, it does hurt when you fall over and you bang your backside.
Yeah, bruised. Being cute again in the snow and slopes. This is not uni crew, school crew. I think that's Jamie in the middle and Brad on the left. Lovely glasses. I just looked at them and like, I was just like, oh yeah, those are some glasses, but actually those are quite special there. And I think he's wearing his glasses underneath, which is always good.
Yeah.
This was actually a few days before he died. Like we went on a really fun, because it's obviously he died on the bank holiday, just after the bank holiday weekend, the way the dates fell then. So on the bank holiday we'd gone out kind of day drinking with some friends in and around London, and we look a little bit drunk but very happy, and I love this photo. It was one of those weird nights that we got really drunk and the conversation turned to all sorts of things, and it included things like talking a lot about death, which is really weird because we never talked about that. And then it's one of those things that sticks with me because obviously like the timing of it, but anyway, just one of those things. But it was fun, really fun day.
Yeah, it's a good photo as well, really great.
Being a poser with a strong breath.
Yeah.
I love this. I just love the like leopard print behind him. Is like with some weird art on the wall. But that was like a pub near my parents' house. I think we were like escaping for the evening when we lived with them. Yeah, happy times. I like this one again because it's like looking at me. It captures what he looked like when he looked at me, if that makes sense. Yep, uni, that's Charlotte. He got into American football through Charlotte, as you can tell.
If anybody is thinking like, you know, oh, I'm not sure about going to uni, I would say, you know, go. You've got to go, like, because there's nowhere else that you get to do stuff like this and you know, behave in this way.
Exactly.
And it's acceptable.
Yeah, that's the key. It's acceptable.
Yeah. It's socially acceptable. Yeah.
Honestly, yeah, he had an absolute blast at uni. This is one of our cutest photos, if I don't say so myself. It was, yeah, I don't even know when it was, like a few years into our relationship. He'd come to visit me at uni, and we just looked cute, and that was his best shirt at the time. I was like, Callum, you have to wear your nice shirt. And he knew which one. I was like, I think I called it his sexy shirt. I was like, you have to wear a sexy shirt, and he knew which one I meant, and he brought it down to wear with him for our like night out. He looks very cute.
Yeah.
This was him proudly presenting his vegan cookies that he made. I wasn't there. I think this was his uni housemates were the victims of this particular baking.
Like Rolos or something in the middle.
I don't know. Like, I think he said they were nice. Yeah, huge. Yeah. He said they were nice, but he was very complimentary about most foods. As long as he could eat them, he was happy. That's why he liked my cooking, I think.
And his hair was so long.
So long. This is the same day, just like a few days before he died.
With the
stripy t-shirt.
Yeah.
I actually when I ran this morning, I ran through the same part just for memories. As a little.
And that's the last picture there.
Oh, cute.
So
yeah, thank you for going through those.
Yeah.
I haven't properly looked at them for so long.
Yeah, they're really nice. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah. Are you happy with that?
I'm happy with that. Yeah, it was really lovely.
Yeah,
it's really nice to hear your memories as well.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't have a lot of time together, but you know, like we said before, he definitely made an impact, and his loss was definitely felt. So yeah, it was. I just want to say, like, thanks for coming in and doing this today, because I mean, it may have helped you to talk about it, but it definitely helped me as well. and to get some sort of closure, which sounds weird, like when he's more an acquaintance than like he's just like an instant best friend, you know what I mean, or an
Yeah.
instant friend, because he's so affable and friendly, and
Yeah.
you have a lot in common, and he's a good communicator, and then I guess you always think that there's another opportunity, it's like to meet that person again.
Yeah.
And then
cool.
I think that's the saddest thing, that we should never take friends for granted.
Yeah, I think if there's anything to take from this, it's just like try and make the best of every situation and every person you have in your life, and don't be afraid to tell people that you care about them.
Yeah, definitely.
And try and find positives. Like I always really try, and I just apply that, like what would Callum do, or what would Callum think in this situation, and that automatically makes me feel better, because he was always just so like enthusiastic and looking for the opportunities rather than the negatives. And it's just I feel very, very lucky to have known him.
So thank you so much for sharing. It went like as I thought it would. I knew that like there was going to be some parts of it that would, the conversation would be hard, but I knew, because it was just together, you're so full of love, so I knew it would be a lovely conversation, and I hope that anybody watching it or listening, that I'm sure that will come across. And so if you have made it this far, I go and donate to Sarah's page, because she's going to run a marathon, and that is not an easy thing to do. So yeah, let's try and get that over £10,000 for Sarah and for Callum.
Thank you, Paul.
Okay, I'm just trying to find the button now.
Westbrook.